Good afternoon. Welcome everybody to my midnight Somerset March walk. A little bit like February, this is take 2 of the March walk. Lovely walk at the weekend, beautiful warm sunny day, and got back home, press stop, and had this video has failed to record to save message. So we are trying again, and had a challenging morning so far at work today. So I've come out for a stomp. We're going to do the same route as I did Sunday. It's a lot less sunny. It's a lot more windy, so I apologise for the noise. I'll do my best to keep that edited out. So I'm going to do a loop walk. This walk's about an hour. I suppose it's probably about 4.5 miles. And we're facing north, so we get some decent views today. Getting over the Contux and hopefully the Blackdown Hills as well. Loads of these guys on the walk today. There's the lambs, and just down this footpath, there's a Dean farm which they use for the lambing. No Sid with me today. He's just been for a walk actually, he's just got back. But, I wanted to do this route because of I can say hello. Yeah, March has definitely seen a return of more normal weather conditions. So dry. March has been a lot wetter. We've had snow. The kids are out making snowmen. That was only a couple of weeks ago. There's definitely a bit of warming going on when the sun is out. You can certainly feel the strength of the sun now, which is nice. And of course that means everything's popping up. I'll say the winter barley is really starting to come on now. We'll go through a field with some oilseed rape in it. That's coming on. Spring bulbs at home are coming up. Daffs, tulips are doing nicely. All the daffs are out. Doing a bit of gardening at the weekend to cut the lawns. It's okay. Just going to slow down off this sort of stuff. Barns and stables and sheds here. There's cool old buildings. what used to happen in here. If this was the pig pen or... some kind of threshing machine or something, is that? That's been used for years. A hay rack. Yeah, this could have been a pig pen, right? Yeah, shepherds using these buildings at the moment for lambing activity. Sheds there. Mums and their babies. I'm going to show you in this building. Pretty cool. Smells being here. It's the old watermill wheel. The wheelhouse. You can see the pond behind. This wheel hasn't run for years. Knackered. Pretty cool nonetheless. Right, let's walk around here. The stream comes down around, follows the valley down here, past this orchard and goes into another huge pond, and then joins the stream continues, eventually it joins the River Tone. The orchard there. There's the orchard. See, this farm's got two orchards. It's got another one just in front of us over here. Good for a cheeky bit of scrumping every now and then in the autumn. They use the ground for grazing the sheep. So we're heading straight over to this gate, easterly direction. We'll go through this little coppice and cross another big field, up a hill, and then we'll turn around and start heading north, start closing the loop. So I said one of the reasons for doing these was to document the changing of the seasons. So this is March, and of course we're getting bang into spring now, which is great. But it's also a good opportunity, a good tool for me to help with my own mental health. So I've got a fairly senior job, people reporting to me. Work for a SME-sized business. I work mostly from home. I do pop into the office. And for the most part, I love my job. Certainly get very passionate about it, but You know, there are just times when you get stretched, and I care a lot about what we do and doing things right. And when I don't see that, it really bothers me. There's a coppice. So I need to get better with my own resilience. And I was talking to my coach today about exactly that. It's the art, for me anyway, it's the art of knowing when not to give a shit and when to give a shit. Today's been a good example of that. It's a fine balance. I think I'm just about getting it right today. And there's a little bit of self-talk, just pepping yourself up, getting yourself into that right mindset, which I'm getting better at. And then just finding other tools like getting out for a walk. Just makes a massive difference. Must be well, do you know what? I have no idea what tree this is. I'm not even going to guess, but even in the couple of days since I was last up here, the buds on the trees are really starting to open up. It's just that little bit of warmth, extra sunlight. I think I had it right. We've now gone past the spring equinox, so days are longer than the nights, and just gives everything a boost, right? I certainly feel more able to deal with stuff. Here we go. So the pond, the little stream we looked at with the water wheel, so that flows down into this really big pond. That qualify as a lake? It might do. So we are going to come back down the other side, around the edge of the pond, follow this tree line, and then we'll head back home to the village. But those are hills you can see in the background there. Those are the Quantocks. And I thought we might be able to see it at the top here, but it's obscure. Anyway, let's follow this path. I don't know if you can hear that bird. It's a single skylark. You can see, you can come in here. See the flower heads. There we go. And the oilseed rape. So those will be the bright yellow flowers that you see in April and May. And it's going to have a really heady smell. It's a lovely smell of spring. Not great if you have hay fever, I'd imagine. Panoramic view. So I'll come round. There's the Quantocks. We follow that line along until we get to what you can just see there in the distance is West Quantocks Head. So where the hills come back down again to the Bristol Channel. And then those houses just in the middle of the screen there. front of us is a little bit like a horror film set. It's maize that's gone over, and it's just grown as a cover crop for pheasants and game birds that are shot. It's just been harvested, goes over, and then of course you've got all the heads of maize, and the crows absolutely rip it to pieces. Horizon line, that dark area, that's the Blackdown Hills, and you might just be able to make out the Wellington Memorial, which is a huge kind of obelisk for the Duke of Wellington, and it's run by English Heritage, I think, and you can climb up inside too. It's a good staircase that winds its way up to the top, and there's a little platform for 2 people, and you can look out from the top of the Blackdown Hills. You can just about see my house from the top there. I've only been up there once so far. It's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome though. It's just this space that allows you just to decompress your head. This field is a good spot for field mushrooms. All the sheep poo obviously helps. Okay. None up at the moment. I'll see some later this year. If you're out walking in a field or open area, a bit like this, and see a patch of darker green grass. What stands out, looks unusual, often in a circle or a patch. Well, that's usually a good indicator that that's where the mycelium, the fungus, is growing. And if you come back at the right time of the year, that's when you should see the mushrooms pop up. Some fox activity here. There's a rabbit carcass. Two rabbit carcasses. And I know there's a fox around here because just at the end of this path is a lime kiln, an old lime kiln. I should take a peek at, but I came here on Sunday, there was a dead fox inside. Recently dead as well. I just wondered if that was from hunting. About which I may have already vented my concerns and frustrations. I won't show you deep inside, but there we go, there's the lime kiln. Quite a big one. So, do you know, I'm not 100% sure on the process, but you essentially dig the mineral out the ground. You bring it to a place like this, burn it, and then the lime that you're left with, you can spread on the ground, and it's a fertilizer. And this is how This is how the land was farmed. By its chemicals. And there's a couple of those around the village. Right, so we've turned again. Okay. Come about, going back north. So we start the return leg. We're probably about halfway. Travelling this week for work. I've got a big plan presentation to deliver. It should be fine. A lot of work's gone into it, so it's a good plan. But these things are not without their stresses. Sociable, and just somebody like myself, it just takes all of your energy. Need a little bit of R&R when I get back, just to recharge my batteries. We have a bit of an odd financial year at the place that I work. One from May through to April, so we're just coming to the end of a financial year now. It's nice to be out of the breeze here. So peaceful today. I think it's school pickup time, so the road might get a bit busier. Kids will be on my way back when I get home. The sheepies in the field. What's unusual about some of these hedgerows, unlike the other side of the village, I will show it to you. We'll go that way again in April because there's no wild garlic coming up here. There's loads on the other side, and when it's up it looks brilliant. And I'll give you some tips for spotting it because it doesn't look unlike some very poisonous plants, not least lords and ladies, of which there's loads coming up in these hedgerows. But there's one thing that wild garlic has that none of the poisonous plants do, and it's a bit of a giveaway if you are foraging, and that is it stinks of garlic. Particularly the young shoots, really, really strong. So we'll be picking some of that, and it's great for making some pesto. Happy to share my wild garlic pesto recipe. That's really nice. So the big pond that we looked at ends up flowing through down here into the stream. To the stream. It's a pretty cool little area. Brilliant habitat down here. Again, it's just very tropical. Must be great for wildlife. It's quite boggy down there. Really good environment for lots of creatures to live. There's a pheasant pen just here, right hand side. You can hear a few escapees, survivors from the shooting season. Fair play to them. Always makes me chuckle that it's called a sport. It'd be an actual sport if the pheasants had guns as well. That'd be a bit more interesting. Here we go, here's the stream. Let's through this culvert onto the other side. So on my walk on Sunday, I shared a new nugget of knowledge info that I picked up recently. And to be honest, it's a question that's been bugging me for ages. I finally got around to Googling about it. So one of the inspirations for wanting to do these videos is a series on BBC Four called, a couple of series, Spring Walks and Winter Walks. And the format is, I think it's like over an hour. A celeb with a camera on a rotating stick like this one does a walk and just share that time with that individual. There's been some brilliant ones. Richard Coles, Vic Reeves, yeah, those were two kind of standout ones. Anyway, a lot of them shot in the north of England and they come across some water. And it's either on screen or they talk about it, the beck. And I always just wondered what the difference between a beck and a stream and a brook was. I live down south. Never really come across becks in local parlance. So a beck and a stream are the same, but beck is a northern word derived, I think, from the Vikings. But yeah, it's the same kind of thing, beck and a stream. A brook, apparently, what differentiates a brook from a stream is that you can step over a brook. So smaller maybe, potentially more shallow. You can't do that with a stream. I need to do a bit more digging on that one. I'm not sure if that's entirely correct, because I certainly know some brooks that you could not walk over. You need a bridge to get over them. I can probably think of some streams that I could step over as well. Maybe they've got it around the wrong way. Maybe it's a stream that you can step over. To be continued. Anyway, we know the difference between we know what a beck is now. You can thank me later. See lots of wild primrose on the banks here, and these kind of yellow daisy-like flowers, which are called celandine or celandine. Celandine, I think. Wildflower. I've got them growing in the bank on the edge of my front garden as well. Loads of them. It looks great. When the sun's out, they all open up. Bees love them. Crocuses have just sort of finished, really. The primroses are really coming on. So my lawn at home, the front lawn, is the wild lawn area. So the grass gets cut 3 times a year. I've just done the first cut of the year, so you go right down to as low as you possibly can. And that lets light and air to the soil and helps wildflower seeds to germinate. So I've been sowing quite regularly wildflower seeds there now the last couple of years. Let that come on, and then you do your hay cut at end of August. That's once all the flowers have finished. Hopefully, you have to wait for the flowers to finish as much as possible, and they have set seed, so you've got next year's plants ready to come on. And so you do your hay cut, take up the hay, and then you do a final cut, which I did in October. Again, it just tidies it up then, ready for the winter period. It looked great last year. First year that we did it last year. Looked great. Just the grass is really tactile, really pleasant. So orientate ourselves. We've been heading north, back towards the Contocks, which you can see there. Just pan around. Down there is the next village to us. We come around and much better view of the Blackdown Hills. So yeah, we're heading back. And I don't know if you've noticed yet, but I haven't specifically talked about where it is I'm walking, where I'm living, what the name of my village is, and as we head back we'll go past a sign for the village. There's a good reason for that, actually. It's kind of linked into why we're here in the first place, but we lived in Reading, the last place that we lived, and that's where I was born, that's where I've grown up. Lived away a bit at university and lived in London for 4.5 years, but spent most of my life in Reading. And you know, when I was a kid, it was really, the place I lived there was really a a village, quite small, good community, very peaceful. Anyway, that's very sadly, like a lot of places, has changed quite considerably. It's really busy and it's just becoming increasingly antisocial. And sadly, the place that we last lived there had some problems with neighbours, a family who lived in the house opposite to us, which resulted in a member of their family pouring paint all over my new car, pouring paint all over the courtesy car I had whilst that was being fixed on New Year's Eve, and then threatening to rape and kill both the kids to their faces. That resulted in an arrest and restraining order, and that was the that was the nail in the coffin for us. And we'd been thinking about moving on. We'd looked at some places around Reading, try and minimise the disruption for the kids, but we just thought, you know what, we need to get away as far away as we possibly can. It's practical. And to somewhere that's peaceful, friendly, no antisocial behaviour. So that's why we kind of landed here. But I was just a bit worried that their family decided to come and find us. And I learnt a few weeks ago that the guy who threatened the kids was arrested and sent to prison last year for GBH, attacking somebody with a pool cue, broke their jaw in a couple of places. So not nice people. So we're just a little bit protective of where we are. This is a shame, but it's probably the right thing to do. The last walk was also dedicated to my nan, Nanny T, and it was her funeral a few weeks ago. I think I said that Nanny T was family legend, and her funeral was appropriately legendary. Lots of people there. I was lucky enough to be able to carry her into the church and to the spot where she's been buried. And then we had a really good send-off for her afterwards. Lots of Guinness was consumed. It was a good show. She would have loved it. It's Terry. Terry the log stick man. Not log man, stick man. Terry's a great guy, actually. Love Terry. And these hedges here, love this little lane. Again, the tall hedges just makes you feel really cosy. Anyway, these hedges are brilliant for blackberries. And Terry's the old guy in the village who sells me kindling sticks. He helps out the guy who delivers the logs as well. But he's a widower, bless him. He must be in his early 80s now. He's not very well, he's on a lot of medicines. Anyway, he seems very cheerful. But he likes to spend his time out in the hedgerows, foraging, picking the blackberries. And so I've still got a massive tub of frozen blackberries in the freezer from Terry. But he's just a really nice guy. And his favourite is apple and blackberry pie, so I make him a pie. Share the love. home now. Give me a west along here, do a little bit of a dog leg, and then back home. Quick cup of tea. Then I'll be doing a one-to-one with one of the guys in my team. And I need to pack my bags and head off to Heathrow later. To the edge of the village. Do the double leg round. Tom's having a burn up. Small holdings here, some sheep and pigs and eggs. We get hen's eggs and duck's eggs. You see the daffs along here, and it's usually a pretty epic display. It looks not quite so good this year because they've trimmed the hedges, as you can see. Trim the tops off of loads of the daffs. It's really annoying. Sound of the wind through these pine trees. It's a totally different sound. They're kind of whooshing. Yeah, whooshing sort of sound. anyway, this is us on the home stretch. Just under an hour. Thanks for joining me on this March walk. March midnight in Somerset. Hope you've enjoyed it. Go and check out the January and the February walks if you haven't already. Tell your friends. Who doesn't love a like? And I will see you very soon in April. We'll see how the spring season is progressing. Till then, see you later.